You're listening to The Picture Show, a Mach 5 Network podcast. And here are your hosts, Jason Zimmerman and Jacob Lee.
Hey, what's up, fellow movie lovers? Welcome to The Picture Show, Coming Attractions, where we discuss the weekend's theatrical releases and the news surrounding some of our favorite upcoming movies. Find us on social media at facebook.com/Mach5Network or on Twitter at Mach5Network. You can tell your friends about us, share information about the show, tell them about the show, use the hashtag The Picture Show, and tell them to check us out by searching The Picture Show Movie Podcast on iTunes or Stitcher Radio. And finally, don't forget, if you have something you would like to share with us, something to say, any recommendation of a movie or anything movie related, just email mach5network@gmail.com. My name is Jason Zimmerman, and this week I am joined by a special guest, friend of the show. You heard him here on our Transformers episode. It's Craig Candico from FatMovieGuy.com. Craig, what's up? How are you?
I'm frustrated.
Frustrated. Tell us why.
Yeah, I just finishing up my review of Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, which, by the way, if you like Sin City and Frank Miller and 300 and Quentin Tarantino, uber violent movies, things like that, you'll love Sin City, Dame to Kill For. You know, I was finishing up my review, just adding pictures, and WordPress just deleted my entire 2,100 words, so I was trying to get it all back, and I realized I'm not going to be able to. And it happens at such a rare occasion that one of my reviews gets deleted, and I don't do what everyone says, which is, save it on like WordPress, not WordPress, but like either Google Drive or Microsoft Word or something, and then copy and paste. I never do it because I don't have that necessarily ability. Sometimes when I can, because a lot of times I write my reviews on my iPad.
Gotcha.
So I don't have that ability, but then it just gone.
Ugh.
But if it was, I'll tell you, if it was a bad movie, I wouldn't even waste my time on. But like, screw it, I didn't, But because it's a movie, I do want people to see. If they are fans, I want to let them know, hey, it is a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be disappointed. So I have to rewrite it.
Yeah. Last night, when you texted me that you had seen it, I said, you know what? I'm going to go back and watch the first Sin City just to refresh my memory before I see A Dame to Kill For. So I got through about an hour of it last night before I went to bed. And I forgot how violent it was. Like, the only scene that ever stuck out in my head was when Elijah Wood gets his arms and legs chopped off. That scene has always stuck with me, but I forgot the rest of it, how violent it was. I was like, right on, okay. I see where this is going.
Well, it's a stylized violence.
Yeah, it is.
That's what Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller did with the first movie was, they literally made the comic book come to life in 3 dimensions. And it's like every little nuance from like the one guy that has like a special like makeup over his eye. Well, in the movie, that guy has that makeup. It's they brought every character to life. And A Dame to Kill For, it's kind of like the way 300 and 300 Rise of an Empire intertwine. Dame to Kill For intertwines with the first Sin City because it's like it's 4 stories. 3 of them are kind of short stories, as where Dame to Kill For, which is based off of the graphic novel of the same title. That's your main story, and you've got, like I said, 3 other mini stories. One opens it up with Marv. Marv's the coolest, and then one with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and one with Jessica Alba's characters. But they intertwine so that the Jessica Alba story takes place after the Yellow Bastard story from the first movie. The Josh Brolin Dame to Kill For story arc takes place before the Clive Owen story arc from the first movie. It's like, so like one takes place after, one takes place before. So it's like a non-chronological story of the characters in the same way like, Quentin Tarantino will tell like Pulp Fiction. It's not in sequential order. It's in sequential order on the importance of the story.
While we're previewing this movie, does it feel like The Little Brother, like it's the B version, or does it feel like a strong movie?
I would go with the B version. I mean, I still loved it. I mean, I say I really liked it. I didn't love it like the first movie, but I did really like it. And it is because I'm a Frank Miller fan. I love the style. The movie looked amazing in 3D. Like because it's all shot digitally and it's layered because you could tell like the people they're all green screened. So they're able to take those layers almost like Photoshop layers and make this layer come out at you. So arrows and bullets and glass and blood and even things like snow effects. And then when they're at the bar and everyone's smoking, you see like literally see smoke just floating in the theater. You know, it's that cool of 3D effects.
I bet this might be a movie I would like to see in 3D actually. Just because of that, because of the way they did it.
Absolutely. It's one of those movies like, yeah, some 3D effects just add depth to it. Like animated movies look awesome in 3D because there's a really good depth and stuff. And some of the stuff, you know, like say like Final Destination 5, that movie's made for objects to be shot out at the audience. But for this experience of like you're actually in the comic book, you get that experience when you watch it in 3D.
There you go, everybody. There's a little sneak peek preview of Sin City: A Dame to Kill For before that comes out. So the reason that I wanted to have Craig here on this episode, not just because Jacob's not here, but something I wanted to do since the middle of the year was take a look at what's coming up for the second half of the year. And now we're looking at the last 4 months of the year and take a look at the top movies to look forward to. So Craig's going to break down his top 10 movies to look forward to for the rest of 2014. But before we get to that, first, let's talk the box office numbers for last week. All right, so number one movie of the week, again, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came in at $28.5 million. And on its heels, Guardians of the Galaxy at $25.1 million. Guardians holding strong for another week in a row, and the Turtles are still winning. That was followed up by Let's Be Cops at $17 million, The Expendables 3 at $15.9, and then The Giver at $12.3. So what do you think about, we had Let's Be Cops, The Expendables 3, and The Giver all came out, and all really, really low performances, lower than I even expected them to do.
I mean, Let's Be Cops, I personally did not see Let's Be Cops, because every time there was a screening for that, a better movie like, say, Guardians of the Galaxy came out that same day. So I picked Guardians over Let's Be Cops. And then every time it would come out, it was like, nah, you know, it just wasn't like, man, I have to see it type of movie. And with that mentality, that's probably exactly what audiences thought too. It's like, you know, they probably just even seen with the trailer how dumb it was. You know,
yeah.
I personally can't say if the movie is good or not, but just from the trailer itself, it just looks like a dumb comedy.
Right.
That it's like, you know, I'd rather see Guardians again, or I'd rather see. There's other things out there that people are probably just like, nah, I'll rent it.
Yeah, I was surprised that it beat The Expendables 3 and The Giver. I thought The Giver of those three, based on all the people who've read the book crowd was going to come out strong and represent, and they didn't do it. It came in at a little 12.3, so.
But you know what, though? That the book crowds are fickle.
Yeah.
Some book crowds are like, no, I'm not going to see it because it won't be better than the book.
And that's what I thought for The Fault in Our Stars, which they proved me wrong on that one.
And here's the thing too, if right now, because I'm a parent of 4 kids, if I'm looking at taking my kids to movies and I've got the choice between Ninja Turtles and The Giver, I'm taking them to Ninja Turtles.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. You know, one last thing with Let's Be Cops. I saw Let's Be Cops, and it's gotten completely ripped apart. It's at 14% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. But I actually enjoyed it, which is unusual for me because I'm hard on these type of movies, but I don't understand why it's getting ripped apart. I think it's very similar to a 21 Jump Street or 22 Jump Street.
I was actually just going to ask you if you saw 21 and 22 Jump Streets, how would you compare it?
I think if somebody said to me, "Hey, you want to watch a movie tonight? I've got Let's Be Cops and 22 Jump Street." I would be like, "Let's watch Let's Be Cops."
Wow, that's strong.
But I also really like Jake Johnson. Maybe a man crush thing, I don't know. I really like Damon Wayans Jr. So to me, those two guys are really funny, and to have the same type of formula where the two guys are goofy at the beginning, they bump into who they think will be, or who turns out to be the bad guys at the end. They go through this whole process of becoming cops. They get into a fight with each other, get mad at each other, get back together, and solve the big crime, which was basically the 21, 22 Jump Street movies. It was the same thing here. I thought this was a little bit funnier, and I enjoyed it. So,
well, it's almost even like the same same formula that Ride Along with Ice Cube and
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, it's same thing. It's goofiness. It's funny compared to like 22 Jump Street. Let's Be Cops was guys who were pretending to be cops, as were 22 Jump Street were cops pretending to be guys.
Right, exactly. So it was like the same movie, but just that was flipped.
Right.
So, all right.
But at the same time too, after seeing Let's Be Cops, was it a movie that you're like, wow, you have to see this in a movie theater, or you're like, nah, you could rent it.
No, you could rent it. You don't have to see it in a movie theater.
Exactly.
Let's talk about it. Here's some things coming out this weekend for people to check out. Coming out this week. First, we've got 3 nationwide releases. First up, Sin City: A Dame to Kill For, that we mentioned, starring Mickey Rourke, Rosario Dawson, Jessica Alba, Josh Brolin. In Sin City: A Dame to Kill For, Josh Brolin, Dwight, is hunted down by the only woman he ever loved, Ava Lord, and then watches his life go straight to hell. Chronologically, the story takes place prior to the big fat kill, featured in the film Frank Miller's Sin City, and explains how Dwight came to have a dramatically different face.
I would agree with that synopsis.
Mm-hmm.
But there's, like I said, there's also 3 other stories. One is based off of a short story called like Just Another Saturday Night. That's the opening of the movie. Then it goes into Dame to Kill For, but then you also have, like I said, the Jessica Alba revenge story and the Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's a gambler. It's his story, and those 2 stories are not based on any books at all. Miller and Rodriguez created those just for the movie.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I did not know that.
Now you do.
Yes. Next up, If I Stay, with Chloe Grace Moretz. She plays in this movie Mia, who she is deciding if she's going to pursue her musical dreams at Juilliard or follow a different path with the love of her life, Adam. But what should have been a carefree family drive changes everything in an instant, and now her life hangs in the balance. Caught between life and death for one revealing day, Mia has only one decision left, which will not only decide her future, but her ultimate fate. Dun dun.
I didn't see it.
Did not see it. It looks like something I would just want to rent, maybe.
Right there. There's your answer. Looks.
Yeah. And finally, in wide release, we have When the Game Stands Tall with Jim Caviezel, Laura Dern, Michael Chiklis. Tells the story of legendary high school football coach Bob LaDucer, played by Jim Caviezel, who took the...
I say more like Bob LaDucer.
Who took the De La Salle High School Spartans from obscurity to a 151-game winning streak that shattered all records for any American sport. And that's where the synopsis ends, but basically the team loses, and then it's a rebuilding story. So
right. I have that review up on my page. That I don't want to say that the movie was garbage, but there's, in my review, I even state there's so many better football movies out there. Also, too, is that what they don't really show you in any of the trailers is that it's actually it's a religious movie.
I'm trying to think if I got that, because I did see this one of the few screenings that I have gone to.
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember the religious aspect of it.
Well, the movie, not only is it like a Sony Pictures, but it was produced by Affirm Films, and Affirm Films does all these like evangelical films. Now, like I said, I'm not trying to knock anyone's religions or anything like that. And for a lot of people that are looking for wholesome family entertainment, When the Game Stands Tall is a movie for that. But if you want a watered down Christian version of Varsity Blues, that's what you're going to get from this movie.
Yeah. It's kind of sad because I saw it, and then Jacob, who is not here, unfortunately, this week, asked me, what did you think of it? And I said, it's not one of my favorite sports movies,
No.
I thought Jim Caviezel was just really blah, and I thought the movie overall was just very sort of ho-hum.
Yeah, it's like, let's all hold hands and pray to God and everything. I've said, like, one of the last lines of my review for this movie is like, this is the Tim Tebow of football movies. It's not very good and will only gain popularity because of religious beliefs.
I missed the religious aspect of it. I was trying to. I mean, I guess now that I'm thinking about it in hindsight, I see what you're talking about there. But I missed.
Oh, it was a whole bunch of things. Like the one guy, he's like, "Oh, I'm taking." It was subtle things, but it was like the one guy's like, "Oh, we're taking an abstinence vow, and smoking is bad, and being brotherhoods and stuff." It was little nuanced things. Also, too, there was so many. I mean, hell, the one guy did his like thesis on the one Bible quote and everything.
Right.
And,
okay.
And Jim Caviezel's coach, he was a coach at night, but during the day he was a theology teacher.
Right.
So he always brought the religion into it and stuff. I mean, there is a message there that of brotherhood and working together as a team, but I would have thought a more interesting movie would have been the actual streak itself.
Mm-hmm.
Not the loss, because then the movie just turned out to be all crybabies. They're like, "Oh, we lost the streak," and everything like that. And it was like, dudes, you're crybabies, and it just, I don't know.
Not to harp on this movie too much, but yeah, exactly. The kids who were the juniors that became the seniors the last year after when they lost the streak were they made them the most unlikable characters. I was like, I hate all these kids, and it was just, it's a movie that has a good positive message to it that was done in a really boring sort of dry way that it should have been handled differently.
Absolutely, I couldn't say it. I couldn't say it any better. I mean, go see, if you want an inspirational football movie, watch We Are Marshall. Watch We Are the Titans. Watch Varsity Blues. Watch Brian's Song. I mean, on my website, I have a list of the top 25 football movies. Watch those 25 movies first.
Right.
Watch Rudy. Watch The Blind Side. Hell, watch North Dallas 40 or The Longest Yard. Watch those movies.
Yeah. Anything else?
It's not a horrible movie. It's just not a great.
Right.
It's not very inspirational. Right. It's very blasé and very cliche, and it's all brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods, Nike, and Muscle Milk.
Right. Pretty much. All right, we've got a couple limited releases coming out to check out also. I'll get through really quickly here. First up, Love is Strange with Marissa Tomei, Alfred Molina, John Lithgow. Tells the story of Ben and George, who take advantage of New York's new marriage laws and tie the knot after being together for 39 years. Unfortunately, the Catholic school where George teaches does not approve, and they reluctantly fire him, forcing the couple to split up and stay with friends while they sell their apartment and look for cheaper housing.
Wah, wah, wah.
I think it could be a good relationship story for the, taking the gay marriage thing into account and that sort of thing.
It has something to do with that, like, gay marriage or anything. I think that's I think gay men and women should absolutely be able to let them marry. Just, it sounds like, even if it was a man and a woman relationship, I'm like, it just sounds boring.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Next up, The One I Love with Ted Danson, Mark Duplass, Elizabeth Moss. On the brink of separation, here's another relationship movie. Ethan and Sophie escape to a beautiful vacation house for a weekend getaway in an attempt to save their marriage. What begins as a romantic and fun retreat soon becomes surreal when an unexpected discovery forces the two to examine themselves, their relationship, and their future.
Now, that would have been better as a gay movie,
That could have been interesting, yes.
Where it'd be like, I realize I'm not gay no more, and that's the surreal part of it. I don't know. Once again, I'm gonna go with a skip on that one.
And finally, we have The Prince with Jason Patric, Bruce Willis, John Cusack, which follows a family man played by Jason Patric, who turns out to be a tatted-out retired mob enforcer and must travel across the country to find his college-age daughter who has gone missing.
So it's Taken?
So basically it sounds like it's Taken or something, yeah.
I got the trailer for that posted, and the trailer doesn't look that good either. So.
This is the one that has the horrible movie poster where John Cusack looks like he's had 6 rounds of plastic surgery or bad Photoshop.
It's when it looks, I was gonna say it looks like my 10-year-old photoshopped it together.
Right. All right, so those are some things to check out this weekend. We'll see what turns out to be the big movie for the week next week.
Yeah, I would go either if you're a guy and you want blood and violence, go see Sin City 2. If you want to make the girlfriend or whatever happy, go see the If I Stay. Everything else, just skip it and go see Guardians of the Galaxy again.
Go see it for the 5th time. I highly condone that, actually. All right, now let's get to Craig's top 10 movies to look forward to round out 2014. All right, now one thing that I've said on this show, and I'll see what you think before we get to the list.
Sure.
I maintain that I think 2014 has been kind of a down year. I feel like there were a lot stronger movies in 2013. When I mentioned this on the show before, Jacob disagreed, said he really likes what we've had so far, but it's felt weak to me. I don't feel like we have the strong Oscar contenders. We don't have something to really look forward to sink your teeth into. How do you see 2014?
I would agree and disagree.
Okay.
This year has been a year full of surprises, like the Lego movie.
Mm-hmm.
That movie came out of nowhere. Captain America, the Winter Soldier was wow. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was wow. Guardians of the Galaxy, wow.
Yeah.
There was a lot of the X-Men movie. I mean, I can go through even the movies I've reviewed.
Yeah.
And I'm a type of person that I don't have that mentality, like that snobbish hipster mentality that all movies should be Oscar quality.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like, honestly, I don't like 12 Years a Slave. I don't like it. I don't like going to the movie theater and being depressed. Life is depressing enough. I want to escape depression and have a good time at the movie theaters. And I think we've had a lot of really good movies, but at the same time too, where I agree with you, there isn't anything that's really like, wow, that was an amazing piece of cinema. I mean, Boyhood was a very good movie.
Yeah.
I
just saw that last weekend.
People will go gaga.
Right.
When it comes to Oscar time, people are going to go gaga over that film. I just know they are.
Yep.
It's been a mix.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been a mix, but I haven't been disappointed. Like I said, I mean, it's like, it's funny. It's like a lot of people are like, my top 10 movies are like all these Oscar stuff, but I'm seeing like a lot of people this year like Lego movies #1.
Right.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's what it is it's the quality of the quote unquote blockbuster. Those are getting better.
Yeah.
They're not just the Michael Bay and Jerry Bruckheimer explosions and tits and ass movies.
Right.
It's like, no, it's these are these fun movies that even like you could take, like the Lego movie, that's a complete family movie, and that's why that hit so much power. So I mean, it depends on your point of view.
Yeah.
If you're looking at Oscar movies, I would agree with you that I don't really see anything other than like Oscars movies that are going to be nominated for Oscars for like special effects and
right.
and sound, and things like that.
Right.
But at the same time, too, quality of movies, I think that's where your buddy, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go within the middle of that opinion.
So we shall see what's coming up and what's left, and that's kind of why we want to do this. Movies to look forward to. We got September, October, November, and December left to see what could be those movies that are going to sneak up on us.
These top 10s that Jason and I talked about before we started recording stuff, these aren't necessarily Oscar contention movies. These are movies that we find interesting.
Right.
These are movies that we either, some of them will have some Oscar contention to them. Some of them are just going to be fun. Some of them are going to be just silly. But it's just the ones that we're looking forward to watch.
Right, exactly.
Not necessarily, we're not trying to categorize these as just like, here's all of our next Oscar picks.
Right.
These are just the movies where we think are going to be entertaining.
Right, exactly. So let's start with number 10, and coming in at number 10 on this movie list to look forward to, Tusk, the new Kevin Smith film.
I think this one's a dark horse.
Yeah.
I think I'm really conflicted. I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. I have been since Clerks and you know, I mean, Dogma is probably one of my top 10 all-time favorite movies of all time. But, you know, and I like Jay and Silent Bob and all that stuff, but I wasn't that hugely thrilled on Red State. I got where he was going, you know, what he was doing with it pretty much was a commentary on the Westboro, excuse me, the Westboro Baptist Church. Sorry, God didn't want me to say that.
Try to choke
you. Right, he was trying to choke me on that one, but it just didn't. It didn't seem Kevin Smithish to me.
Right.
Tusk, I'm really I want to see it to support Kevin Smith. Like I said, he's one of my, you know, between Nolan and Kubrick and Tarantino and all those. Kevin Smith is on my list of my favorite directors. But I'm conflicted because to me it just seems like it's Kevin Smith's Human Centipede, and I've never seen Human Centipede. I have no desire to see it. I you know, some movies I like being scared and grossed out and stuff, but Human Centipede, I don't know if I want to stomach that. And Kevin Smith can go one way. He can either go absolutely completely disgusting at it or do it in an intelligent way. I just don't know. To me, this is why this is number 10 for me. This is a bit of a dark horse.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I always loved Kevin Smith too, going back to Clerks, because I thought he did a intelligent comedy with really great dialogue. And then somewhere along the way, Kevin Smith movies didn't feel like Kevin Smith movies anymore.
Right.
And I want him to get back to that.
Right. I mean, people knock him on Jersey Girl. As you know, as a dad, Kevin Smith writes and directs what he's experienced.
Right.
I mean, would Zack and Miri make a porno? That wasn't about two people making a porno. It was what he had to deal with making Clerks. If you really watch it and be like, okay, this is what he did when he made Clerks, about closing the store at night, putting the sheets on the stuff. Where that was him filming Clerks. Jersey Girl was about him being a dad. So it was, you know, so that's where it was like Red State was a little bit different because it was like, you know, he's had run-ins with the Westboro Baptist Church, but I keep wanting to say Westminster Baptist Church,
aka
the Westboro
Dog
Baptist Church. But you know, like I said, this is a dark horse. I want to see it, but at the same time too, I'm conflicted about seeing it. In almost the same way about Eli Roth's Green Inferno.
Yeah,
you know, I love Eli Roth. I'm not sure, you know, and I like I like zombie movies, but I'm not sure about about cannibal movies. So
yeah, let's move on to number 9. And coming in at number 9 is Book of Life.
I love Guillermo del Toro. I think he's one of those. I mean, I'm a huge Pacific Rim fan, but at the same time, too, I'm also a huge Hellboy fan, huge Pan's Labyrinth fan. And what I appreciate about Guillermo del Toro is that he really embraces his like Mexican and Spanish culture. Or I think he's more Spanish than Mexican, right?
I'm not 100% sure, actually.
Either way, it's okay. We'll round it off, and you know, I'm because I'm a dumb white guy. I'll just say his Latino culture. People can yell at me later, but
he was born in Mexico. I looked it up. Look at that.
Okay. But he embraces that. So even with Pan's Labyrinth was a Mexican fairy tale. You know, and I appreciate that. I was a huge, for any video gamers out there, I love Tim Schafer's Grim Fandango, and it was about the Day of the Dead, and it, you know, and I appreciate what the imagination and the creatures that Guillermo del Toro comes up with. Like I said, a huge Pacific Rim fan. It was Pacific Rim was my number 1 movie of last year. It was so fun. And compared to Godzilla this year, which was boring as hell. But anyway, I'm looking forward to Book of Life. I like, as a father of 4 kids, I like high quality family movies that the kids are entertained with, but are intelligent for the adults, where they don't regret having to drag the kids along or be dragged along by the kids to go see the movie. I'm looking forward to it. It almost kind of reminds me a little bit of Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's a different holiday, or even Corpse Bride, things like that. I'm looking forward to another fantastic story by Guillermo del Toro.
And this one's coming out October 17th. You guys can look forward. It's an animated movie. We got voices by Zoe Saldana, Channing Tatum, Christina Applegate, Ice Cube. Ron Perlman's doing a voice in there. So
it's like Ron Perlman, man. Where's my shoe?
So yeah, The Book of Life, if you're looking for that 3D computer animated action adventure romantic comedy produced by Guillermo del Toro. Check that out. All right. Number 8 on our list here. Box Trolls.
Now, I don't know too much about this movie because they're very hinted. It's but it's by the creators of Paranorman, and Paranorman was one of those movies that came out of nowhere a couple years ago. This is a stop motion animation movie. I whether it's like the Ardmore stuff that you saw with like the Pirates and Wallace and Gromit. This is, I think, a lot more of an adult stop motion animation movies. Like I said, if you like Paranorman, this is by the creators of that movie, and that's why I'm looking forward to it. I guess it's like this little kid and these box trolls want to rescue him. I don't know the specific storyline because they're being very secretive, and sometimes I like that. Sometimes I like not knowing what a movie is. But I'm looking forward to seeing it.
And we're looking for that one to come out September 26th. You can check out Box Trolls, another animated movie. This one with voices by Ellie Fanning, Ben Kingsley, Toni Collette, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Tracy Morgan, a cast of thousands voicing the Box Trolls. All right. Coming up in at number 7 is Foxcatcher.
This one, this one I think is going to be the one that everyone's going to be talking about when it comes Oscar time. They've already, when I saw the trailer, I think last year, it was supposed to come out like November of last year.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out last year, like November, and it got pushed. And the initial trailer for it came out, and I had posted it on my site, and I'm like, wow, that's real dark. If people don't know, Foxcatcher was this the DuPont family's farm, and the one guy is obsessed with these Olympic wrestlers. One is Channing Tatum, another one is Mark Ruffalo. Ultimately, it's based on a true story. Steve Carell's character of DuPont he's unstable, he's insane, and kills. I believe the Mark Ruffalo character, and I'm not spoiling it. It's a true story, so don't yell at me that I'm spoiling. It's a true story. The guy's in prison right now, but just seeing Steve Carell just be, the intensity of Channing Tatum and just, it's like Steve Carell's doing like, where he's like Robin Williams in all honesty, where these comedic actors, but when you give them this dark role, there can be very evil behind it.
Right.
And I think Foxcatcher, I think it's just going to be a good movie.
That could be the one that turns out to be definitely an Oscar contender. Just, it looks like it's going to be intense. Steve Carell in this type of role, I think, is going to be really super creepy to see him as this, as he's described in the synopsis, as a paranoid schizophrenic.
Yeah.
I think, I'm looking forward to that one actually too. I think that's going to be definitely something for people to look forward to.
I mean, with Robin Williams just recently passing away, and people kept going over his catalog of movies. Robin Williams, Mork and Mindy, and Mrs. Doubtfire and Hook. But what was his best movies? His dark stuff. Not just necessarily like Good Will Hunting, where it's a very good serious role that he won the Oscar for, but that One Stop Photo, is that the name of the movie?
1 Hour Photo.
1 Hour Photo. That movie was like, he was.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and and it's always any of these good comedic actors like Jim Carrey in The Truman Show. You give him a serious role, these guys can do good.
Right.
Even Will Ferrell with Stranger Than Fiction.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It had a little bit of fun to it, but it was kind of a dark comedy. I think that's where Steve Carell can shine with this dramatic role.
I think you're right. And we do see it with these comedians who can just switch it to that really serious role. And I love to see it when they do that. So definitely looking forward to see Steve Carell in this role. I think Steve Carell, he's awesome. So I think he's going to be really, really good in this. All right, next, let's go to number 6, Dumb and Dumber 2.
Who doesn't like Jim Carrey and Jeff Bridges?
Daniels.
Jeff Daniels. Yeah. Jeff Bridges. No, because I'm thinking of Giver.
Right.
Jeff Daniels. It's how many people have the original Dumb and Dumber like memorized?
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee people have the VHS tapes or the DVDs of this movie. It's such a dumb movie. It's highly quotable. How many people quote this movie?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it because I'm hoping it captures the spirit. Unfortunately, I'm going to go into the movie with my expectations low since it was 20 years in the making, because that the Dumber and Dumberer, the prequel of how, Harry met Lloyd, that wasn't that great,
Right, yeah.
But, because sometimes when you strike lightning, it's very hard to strike lightning twice. But I am looking forward to it because it's just... It's Lloyd and Harry,
right, right,
and in the trailer there've been a couple versions of the trailer, but the one scene that kills me is when the phone's ringing and Jim Carrey picks it up, but Jeff Daniels is right next to him talking, and they're thinking that it's different people, but they're talking to themselves, and they're just that dumb,
right?
And
it's so great. I mean, Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels play off of each other so well.
Oh, yeah.
Just the way that those two have such good chemistry together. I love it. My only concern with this movie is that they're going to try and bring back, at least what they're showing in the trailer, is they're going to try and bring back the same jokes, where they show him squirting the breath spray the wrong way and him saying, I like it a lot. And I'm just worried that they're going to try and resurrect all the same jokes in a different movie. So I hope they don't go that route because they can feel awkward, and I don't know.
And that's exactly what I'm thinking as well. Especially with the whole motivation of Dumb and Dumber was that he was flying out to Aspen to get Mary back her briefcase because he instantly fell in love with her. In this one, because Jeff Daniels finds out he has a daughter, but Jeff Carey's like, oh, I love her. It's like, so this is going to be another cross-country movie about finding this girl.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's not that. If it is, then I will bash it in a review.
It seems like it will be, and it seems somewhat creepy when he looks at the picture and gets all turned on by his daughter, who is obviously 20 years younger or whatever.
Right. I
don't know.
We'll see. I said, whether it's good or not, I'm still looking forward to at least seeing it.
Yeah. Because the original, like you said, so quotable, so many great moments. It's one of those movies that, for when it came out, I don't know how many times I watched it. And, when you're young, you're hitting somebody in the back of the legs like he did with the cane and, just trying to be stupid and reenact that movie.
How many people rented orange and blue 1970s tuxedos to go to somewhere formal, and it came out, it struck that lightning the same way Ace Ventura Pet Detective was. And this is where, but then you watch Ace Ventura When Nature Calls, and it did exactly what you said, where it repeated the same jokes and things like that. Dumb and Dumber 2 could fall into that category. We'll see.
Yeah, we shall see. We're going to hope for the best on that one. All right, let's move up the list one more slot to number 5. And here at number 5, we have Big Hero 6.
Once again, I love the animated movies. I'm a huge fan of Wreck-It Ralph. Besides movies, I'm a huge gamer. Big Hero 6 is Disney's first Marvel superhero movie. For those that don't know, Big Hero 6 is actually a Marvel comic book. And this is Disney's first animated movie since they bought the rights to the Marvel library. I mean, other than like X-Men and Spider-Man, I mean, those rights are in, legal hell right now.
Mhm.
But if like Sony and everyone else doesn't have it, Disney owns it. So this is their first Marvel animated movie because people were like, oh, they want to see these Marvel movies like The Incredibles. It's like Disney and Pixar did The Incredibles. Why can't we have Marvel movies like that? Well, this is Disney's first. They're taking a chance on it, and by making Big Hero 6. And for those not familiar with it, it's like imagine San Francisco and Tokyo had a baby, and that's the city. It's like San Fran Tokyo.
Right, something like that. San Francisco or something.
Something like that. So it's got robots and anime and superheroes and bad guys. And B-Max, if anyone's seen the trailer, B-Max is just he's this inflatable balloon guy who is so like Groot, he's like a big child.
Mhm.
And so heartwarming and stuff like that, and just very innocent. Like he fed instead of calling this cat the cat, it's a fluffy baby. It's just cute, and I think it's just going to be a great fun movie. As a fan of if you're a fan of Japanese anime or Japanese culture and superheroes and Marvel comic books, and because I am a fan of all those things and like Wreck-It Ralph and same makers of Wreck-It Ralph and everything. That's why I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I really liked the Wreck-It Ralph and all of that, but I had never heard. Had you heard of Big Hero 6 before the movie? I hadn't. I wasn't familiar with it.
I had not, but when you start doing research,
Yeah.
you're like, wow, it's a Marvel comic,
Right. Yeah.
Compared to the drawing in the book, it looks like the Big Hero 6 movie is making a little bit more kid friendlier,
Mm-hmm. Right.
which isn't bad.
No. And seeing the trailer for it a few times now in the theater, it looks funny. The things that they've showed in the trailer are pretty funny. It looks entertaining. It looks well done. I think this could be a really big animated movie to close out the year. This one comes out on November 7th. People can look forward to it then.
Yeah, I think so. I'll tell you this with the movies. I mean, I listed like 3 family movies, animated movies. I think this is going to be one of the categories for the Oscars this year that's going to be really tough to pick because you've got those 3: Big Hero 6, Box Trolls, and Book of Life. But then you got to go back in time between the Lego Movie
Mm-hmm.
and How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Right.
And what sucks is those are like 5 good movies. Like I said, these ones haven't come out yet. But what year doesn't a Disney movie get animated? I mean, get nominated. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is the first year there's not been a Pixar movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you can't count Planes, Fire, and Rescue because that wasn't Pixar. That's Disney Animated Studios.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But this is the first year there hasn't been a Pixar movie.
That's interesting.
So these are the ones animated wise, to look forward to.
Right. Definitely. All right. Next, number 4, we have starring Michael Keaton, Birdman.
AKA the Adam West biography story. For those not familiar, Birdman, it to me from the trailers, it looks like, and I have to say it looks like Adam West's life story, which was he played this superhero character on television and was typecast in the same way, like all the older stars, like the Lone Ranger got typecast. Things are different now. Like Robert Downey Jr. can be Iron Man and then go play in these other movies.
Mhm.
But back in the day, some guys like Clayton Moore, who was the Lone Ranger, Adam West, who was Batman. Once they made that, people couldn't see them as anyone else but that. So to me, Birdman seems like that same way. Michael Keaton played this character of Birdman, not to be confused with Harvey Birdman, but from the trailers and stuff, it's he's trying to do like this one-man show on Broadway. He's having problems with it. He also seems like he's possibly mental.
Could be.
and not all in the head, because he starts envisioning stuff.
Right.
At the same time, too, the fact that it's Birdman played by Batman.
Yeah, that too.
And this goes back into talking about with Steve Carell being a comedic actor and doing a serious role. Michael Keaton, he can be Beetlejuice, he can be Batman, he can be the guy from Gung Ho.
Right.
He could be Mr. Mom, but then he can get in some serious roles like Clean and Sober,
right, yep.
and stuff like that. And this, the music and the trailers just get you pumped. Not necessarily pumped, but it gives you that, it gives you like that emotional vibe, especially since, and the reason why I'm saying he's probably not mentally stable there, because in the first, like the teaser trailer, they played a remix of Crazy. By Gnarls Barkley.
Yep.
It's just like a slower version of it, and I'm like, okay, Crazy, and but it looks like it could have a lot of funny parts, because like when he's fighting with Ed Norton in his underwear.
Right. Yeah, and I was going to say it also, to play off the crazy part, you see in the full trailer where he looks like he's sprouting wings and everything, and there's definitely something going on in his head that's also playing out at the same time.
Yeah, I like Birdman. I'm hoping it's super good.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be dramatic. It's going to be funny. I hadn't really heard about it until I just recently saw this trailer when I went to see Boyhood, and I thought, wow, I really, really want to see that. We've got Michael Keaton, Zach Galifianakis, Edward Norton, Emma Stone, Naomi Watts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
you got a good cast. On my site, I've got both the teaser and the international trailers on my site. I could watch the trailers over and over again. They just look really, really good.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it yet, you can head over to fatmovieguy.com and check out the trailer for Birdman. Yeah, it's definitely one to look out for October 17th. Okay, next, as we go up, we are now up to the top 3. And coming in at number 3, the Christopher Nolan film, Interstellar.
This is the movie every fanboy wants. I mean, Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite actors. Okay, don't get me wrong. But this is the one that, even when Transcendence came out earlier this year, it was like, oh, well, it's Christopher Nolan's cinematographer and this and that. And I'm a Batman fan. I've got, Batman tattoos. Yes, of course, the Dark Knight trilogy is awesome. But at the same time, too, Christopher Nolan has done more than that. He's done Memento. He's done Inception. He's done these other movies. The guy knows how to direct.
Yeah, this one, I put Interstellar as my number 1 movie to look for the rest of the year. One, yeah, I am kind of a Christopher Nolan fanboy. I love Inception. I love Memento. I love the Batman movies. So, this is science fiction. It's this idea of these scientists, these explorers going through this wormhole, traveling through, space and time. You've got Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, Michael Caine. You've got a great cast. You've got, written by Jonathan Nolan and Christopher Nolan, directed by Christopher Nolan. I think this has Christopher Nolan has not done anything yet to make me lose any faith that he can put out anything other than just a top-notch movie that just really, really makes you think and is visually appealing and all of those things. So November 7th, mark it on your calendar for Interstellar. All right, let's move up to number 2, and our number 2 movie, Fury. This one is written and directed by David Ayer, and let me break down his CV here for people. Going back to, he was the writer of U-571. He was writer of Training Day, writer Fast and the Furious, writer of Dark Blue, writer for SWAT, writer-director of Harsh Times, director of Street Kings, writer-director End of Watch, writer-director Sabotage, and now writer-director of Fury. All right, so that's Fury. Look forward to that one coming out in let me see when that is coming out. I just had it here and I lost it. Another October 17th release for Fury here in the US. Check your local listings for when it actually comes out for you. And now we are at Craig's number one movie to look forward to in 2014, and it is Gone Girl, the David Fincher film starring Ben Affleck. This one I put at my number 2 behind Interstellar that I want to see. You know, you've got David Fincher, you've got this mystery thriller movie, you've got Ben Affleck, Rosamund Pike, Neil Patrick Harris, Tyler Perry is in it. You know, you got Trent Reznor doing music. So I think it's going to be intense. I fully expect twists and turns and that dark, gritty style. This is definitely one to look forward to. This is an October 3rd release. October is going to be a good month for movies. We've got some good stuff coming out here in October. October 3rd, Gone Girl. All right. That's going to round out the top 10. Now we've got some honorable mentions. First on the list of honorable mentions, we have The Judge with Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall plays his father, who is the judge. Robert Downey Jr. plays a successful lawyer who goes back to his hometown. It's a small town. He hasn't been back in forever. He has a bad relationship with his father. He's back there for his mother's funeral. And then his father, the town's judge, is now suspected of murder. And Robert Downey Jr., the son, has to defend his father in court. Another one that definitely could be really hit or really miss is the Ridley Scott film Exodus, Gods and Kings, starring Christian Bale as Moses. This one, I don't know what to think of this. I love Christian Bale. Ridley Scott has done some really good things, some okay things. Could be hit or miss. All right, so a couple other things here that are some lesser known movies that I think could be interesting. At least they're interesting to me. One of them I just saw the trailer for when I saw Boyhood was Laggies, which has Keira Knightley and Sam Rockwell and Ellie Kemper and Chloe Grace Moretz, where Keira Knightley plays a 28-year-old who realizes that her life is going nowhere, and to run away from her life, she meets up with this 16-year-old girl randomly and then moves into her house to run away from her life and is hanging out with all these 16-year-old girls. And the 16-year-old girl's dad is played by Sam Rockwell. And obviously there's probably going to be a little love fling there. But it has people I like, so I thought, okay, I'm intrigued. Next, The Skeleton Twins. I don't know if you've seen much for this one, but with Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader as twins who get together to consider how their lives went wrong. It looks funny. It looks like it's going to be a drama also. And I really like Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader from SNL. Luke Wilson's in it. Ty Burrell's in it. This is one that I'm looking forward to, and I'm hoping turns out to be a good movie. Here's another one that I haven't heard too much about, but it's kind of been on my radar a little bit. Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, that looks slick.
Crime thriller. Even the poster looks really old school pulp noir style.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a detective movie, an LA crime, movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and Bill Paxton and Rene Russo. So,
the other movie I'm looking forward to is that Bill Murray movie where it's him and Melissa McCarthy.
I was actually just watching the trailer for that today, as a matter of fact, and I forget the name of it. Because, that looks really, it looked really interesting. Where he's like the neighbor who the kid, she plays the mom who lives next door, and her kid starts hanging out with him, and he's like this old, crotchety man.
Right, yeah. He's like retired, and because she has to work, she asks if he can watch like her son for a couple hours a day, and the son gets like bullied and some other stuff, and
right.
St. Vincent.
St. Vincent. Yes. I do not have that in my list. I need to add that. Yeah, St. Vincent. Definitely look for that one. And here's what I'm going to throw out there to people, just because of all of the hate it's getting from North Korea, is The Interview with Seth Rogen and James Franco, which could be terrible or it could be really funny. So we'll see.
Yeah, I liked this is the end, and I like Seth Rogen. I like James Franco. It could be, I even really didn't have a problem with Neighbors this year. I like Neighbors. I like Seth Rogen.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It's going to be almost like it's going to be like a live action version of Team America. Where
right.
It's like instead of killing because Kim Jong Un is was the dictator in Team America. It's like now Seth Rogen and stuff are going after his kid.
Yeah, Kim Jong Un. Okay, Kim Jong Il was the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, Un.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And then one last movie here that I had just recently read about that I threw on here, which I really know nothing about other than the synopsis and who's in it, is American Sniper, starring Bradley Cooper, directed by Clint Eastwood, which is supposed to come out on Christmas Day. And I guess it's a true story about Chris Kyle based on his autobiography, American Sniper, where he was an American sniper.
Who knows? It might be good.
Yeah, as long as Clint Eastwood bounces back from Jersey Boys, we're okay.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think Clint Eastwood was a good pick for Jersey Boys.
I don't think so either. Definitely not. All right, so that concludes movies to look forward to finish out 2014. Check out all those picks, because we've got something there for family. We've got some little indie. We've got comedy. We've got sci-fi. We've got suspense, thriller.
Yeah, I think it was well rounded. It wasn't like I said.
Definitely.
Like I said, it wasn't the idea of like, oh, these are only Oscar picks or these are only comedies. It was a good mixture of everything that at least there should be on that list of 10 something that at least everyone could pick one out of.
Right. Exactly. There's something for everyone coming up in 2014. So that's going to do it for this episode of The Picture Show Coming Attractions. Be sure to head over to fatmovieguy.com. Watch his trailers.
Make sure you do.
Read the reviews. Fatmovieguy.com. Find him on the Twitter also.
The Fat Movie Guy. At The Fat Movie Guy. Someone else has just Fat Movie Guy, so I have to be The Fat Movie Guy.
That jerk. How dare he? All right, so yes, head over to fatmovieguy.com, get your movie fix, read his awesome reviews over there. Craig, thank you so much for joining me.
No. Thank you for having me.
It's been a blast, as always. We'll keep having you back from time to time as our schedules all work out. It's going to be awesome. So everybody out there, have a wonderful week. Next week, I am going to be heading to Atlanta for Dragon Con. So,
nerd.
Yeah, I'm a total nerd for Dragon Con. I'm going to be dressing up in my Battlestar Galactica costume I'm putting together.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, it's the real deal. It is the real deal. So I'll be gone for a few days, leaving Wednesday.
You going to be a Cylon?
No, I'm not actually. Well, actually, yes, I am going to be a Cylon, because I'm going to be dressed up, for those who watch Battlestar Galactica, the newer Battlestar Galactica. If you know Chief Tyrrell, he does turn out to be a frackin' toaster, and I'm going to be dressed up like him. So, on that note, we may or may not have an episode if Jacob gets back into town and Craig's available. Maybe we'll have a Jacob and Craig team up. Who knows? Maybe we'll have something next week. We'll work out what we can, and we'll see how it goes. So, until next week or our next episode, we will talk to you guys later. Take care.
Bye.
This has been a Mach 5 Network production. Be sure to subscribe to our shows on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. You can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Mach 5 Network. Follow us on Twitter at Mach 5 Network and email us at mach5network@gmail.com. Until next week, I'm your announcer, Crown Jules, logging off.